Okay, this is section 1.1, variables in algebra. So our goals for today, I want you to be able to evaluate a variable expression, and I also want you to be able to write a variable expression. Okay, so let's start off with some definitions. First of all, a variable is just a letter that's used to represent one or more numbers. Now when we talk about a variable expression, that is a collection of numbers, variables, and operations. So an example of a variable expression may be something like 5x plus 2 would be an example of that. Okay. Now we have 4 operations that we use in math. Got an example of each one listed. The first one I have is 8y. That 8 is attached to the y by multiplication. 16 over b, or 16 divided by b, we have division. And 4 plus s, we have addition. And 9 minus 2x, we have subtraction. And now we have 2 types of expressions that we're going to be working with. We have an algebraic expression, which is just going to use numbers and variables. We also have verbal expressions, and that's going to occur like in our word problems where we spell out the expression with words. So now let's take a moment to look at some of those. So if I have the verbal expression 4 plus w, to write it algebraically, I'd write the number 4, the plus sign, and w. That operation is addition. 9 minus x. Now these translate word for word. So what we're really doing is we're doing just what you do in your Spanish or French classes. We're just translating from verbal to algebraic. That would be subtraction. 16 divided by b. There's 2 ways I could write this one. I could write 16 divided by b, or I could write it as 16 division bar b. That operation is division. 8 times y. Now when we write multiplication, especially if it's a number beside a variable, we're just going to write it as 8y, and that is multiplication. Okay, now one of the things you need to be able to do is to evaluate a variable expression. So you're going to be given an expression and you're going to be given the value of a variable. So if you like to know the steps, here are the steps. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to substitute the value of the variable into the expression. So you're going to substitute the value of the variable into the expression. And the next thing you're going to do is you're going to simplify. Okay, so let's look at these. We're going to evaluate the expression when y is equal to 3. So the first one, I have 4y, or 4 times y, so I'm going to have 4, and wherever I see a y, I'm going to plug in 3. So now I have 4 times 3, and I know that 4 times 3 is 12. Now my second one, I have 18 minus 4 times y. So now I have 18 minus 4 Okay, my y is 3, so 4 times 3. So now I have 18 minus 12. 18 minus 12 will give me 6. Okay, we have one more. Now remember, y is equal to 3, so I have 2/3 times y. So I have 2/3. Wherever I have y, I'm going to plug in that 3. Now let's say that you don't notice that you can cancel out these 3's. Let's just go ahead and multiply. Let's say I have 2 times 3. Numerator times numerator, that gives me 6. Denominator times denominator gives me 3. Oh, I need to simplify. 6 over 3 will reduce down and give me 2. So I had a little bit of work there. Now let's look and see if you notice that you can cancel these 3's. So now I have 2/3 times 3. And this time I'm paying a little bit better attention. I'm like, oh, I can cancel out these 2 3's. Okay, what's 2 times 1? That's 2. What's 1 times 1? It's 1. My answer is 2, and I'm done. So if you realize ahead of time that you can simplify or reduce, you can save yourself some work later. Okay, now let's take a look at a word problem. So we're going to need to create our own translate from a verbal expression to an algebraic expression. Now we're given all the information we need. The first thing I want you to note is we have the equation average speed is equal to distance over time. So the first thing when you have a word problem, I want you to just read through it. Find the average speed in miles per hour of a car that traveled 180 miles from Boise National Wildlife Refuge in 3 hours and 30 minutes. Well, I know I have an average speed. Well, it tells me to find the average speed. So I know that's going to be the value I'm going to try and find. Let's see, that traveled 180 miles. Oh, that's my distance. So I know that my average speed is going to be 180 miles divided by, oh, my time is 3 hours and 30 minutes. Now this is where I really need you to slow down and pay attention, because notice that I have hours and minutes. I need to get that down to 1 unit. So let's read the problem again. Find the average speed in miles per hour. Well, if I need to find it in miles per hour, I want to make sure that I leave my time in hours. So I need to find a way to convert 30 minutes to its hour equivalent. So 30 minutes I'm going to use a little unit analysis here. I know that I want to end up with hours, so I'm going to put hours on top. I want the minutes to cancel out. Well, how many minutes are in an hour? 60. So now when I look at this, okay, minutes are going to cancel. So I have 30 times 1. One times 60. Oh, can I simplify that? Okay, well, I know it'll simplify down to 3/6. Oh, it's going to simplify down to 1/2. The only unit I have left is hours, so I know it's going to be 3 1/2 hours, or 3.5 hours. Now, I know that was one that you could probably just look at and see, but I just wanted you to see how you can use unit analysis to help get you where you're going. So now I have 180 miles divided by 3.5. Myself a little bit of room to work. So 180 divided by 3.5. Need to move my decimal place. Okay, 35 will go into 180. Let's see, 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. 3 times 5 is 15. Plus 2 gives me 17. 180 minus 175. Let's see. It's going to give me 50. So that's going to go one time. So I have a remainder of 15. So it's going to be approximately, the average speed is approximately 51 miles per hour.